Hello everyone, my name is D-EGGO, and today I'll be presenting my project number 4 for English. It is an objective reality check on alcohol. This is a project that I am very passionate about. I have a lot of personal anecdotes and personal experience with this issue, so it really comes from the heart, and I really put a lot of passion into this. So I'd like to start off by stating that at least 3 to around maybe 5 people will die by the end of this presentation due to alcohol-related incidents, whether it be drunk driving, whether it be an onset illness such as liver disease or heart failure that was caused and could have been prevented by the use of alcohol, or could have been prevented by not using alcohol. It is a fact, it is a sad fact, but it is the reality of the world we live in, where such a substance is normalized. In this presentation, I will explain why I believe that alcohol is so normalized and why it pervades in our society to this day in the face of all the negative data and statistics that we have that go against it. I will be sharing some stories of individuals whose life has been completely changed by alcohol-related incidents. And then finally, I will explain some things that we can do to reduce the negative effects of alcohol. So I think the main question that we need to ask is, why do people drink? Why has it from just distilling grapes and letting them ferment in a secluded area, or using wheat and I believe rye to create ales and mead hundreds, if not thousands of years ago, starting in China actually. Why is it that since then we have gone through several drugs such as opium, cigarettes, and other substances, even meth, when it was used in wartime as a painkiller? Why do we, sorry, morphine, not meth. Why have we pushed those away, but not alcohol? We have seen the effects of cigarettes and other diseases, or not diseases, but other treatments even, such as bloodletting. We've dropped those. We understand that they have negative downsides. So why have we not done the same for alcohol? My main points would be that the social environment and pressures, it's a snowballing and compounding effect. It's been normalized, and then eventually you'll run into someone who wants to offer it to you. And you may feel pressured to take up the drink as well. And then you will be that person to another, and the cycle repeats. There is no real stopping it unless we get rid of it now and as a movement. Unfortunately, it's just one of those issues where you as an individual stopping it doesn't have as big, unfortunately, of an effect as one might hoped. It takes all of us as a group, as a movement, as a society to put the drink down. Another big, and this is where my personal experience with others, family members, comes into play. It is a coping mechanism, unfortunately. As I even bring up morphine and even cigarettes, is a coping mechanism for many in society. It is, like I said, since it's always been more normalized, individuals use it as a coping mechanism for stresses, for depression, for anxiety, for feeling that they just want to let go. They just want to forget about things. They just want to put the bad stuff that's going on in their lives. They just want to be able to let go, just let go. That's what a lot of substances that are typically negative provide to individuals, and I think that is quite sad. This is where at the end of my presentation I'll be giving other resources instead of alcohol. And then my last point would be that media portrays it very well. I mean, let's think about Super Bowl ads. Think about Super Bowl ads. It's always new. A Bud Light, Miller Lite, Corona, something like that. It's all over TV. It allows for kids at a young age to witness that. There are certain commercials that come on later at night where kids don't see, and those aren't as big of an issue. We can have that talk, but kids are seeing them on the beach for like a Corona ad, just sipping it, whatever. So it's exposed to children at a younger age, unfortunately. Um, I mean, there are very few other substances that we allow kids to see on a daily basis on TV when they're watching their cartoons, and I believe that that has had an effect on how we view alcohol. I also feel that, in movies and such, the guy drinking alcohol, the guy, get me a beer or whatever, he's the badass. And that may be how it is, but that has, whether we would like to believe it or not, that has a subconscious effect on, well, if he does it, he's cool. Man, if I do it, I must be cool. Same thing with cigarettes and cigars back in the day. However, we've dropped cigarettes and cigars, but we have not for alcohol. Why is that? Um, I also want to focus on what facilitates that. What facilitates our society allows for alcohol and the abuse of alcohol. Um, I find it interesting, a very interesting contradiction between things such as labor rights and and cigarettes and smoking. Back in the day, I mean, even your parents or grandparents can attest to it. You had a cold, you had a fever, just go smoke a cigarette. Easy. I mean, it was on doctors' pamphlets to go smoke a cigarette. Now we've dropped that. We have things such as DARE. We have big anti-smoking campaigns. We have the where it says on the box or on the signage, there's signage above where the cigarettes are sold that says, hey, you have to be this age, it has this many effects, and it writes out all the effects. We don't really have that for alcohol, at least not on a nationwide scale. Maybe some state or local judicial mandates that require that sort of thing, but on a big societal scale, on a national scale, we don't have that. And I feel that that's a very missed opportunity for alcohol. Now, I do want to get into like stakeholders. I feel like there is quite a bit of lobbying. And in my past projects, I've gone over how the restaurant and bar industry lobbies quite a lot to lawmakers. And no one can say for certain, but we can infer that they are lobbying to keep alcohol more accessible and more profitable, which is very unfortunate. Whereas for even labor laws, we understand that these are things of the past. There are terrible toxins and carcinogens in some workplace environments, and we have to make it known to the workers and to the companies, to the corporations, that hey, you have to address that. Why don't we do that for alcohol sales? Why don't we do that for the Coronas, the Budweiser, the Bud Lights? Why isn't that they have to show the terrible effects of their product? So let's take a look at what alcohol does to the body. So on a small scale, in the moment, you get drunk, you get tipsy, you might even black out. You've got impaired vision, you've got impaired agency, so you might be more susceptible to suggestion, unfortunately, stuff like that. Yeah, you might even throw up. You might have this little bit of slight memory loss. Oh, I don't remember what happened last night. We've all seen The Hangover. Long-term effects. Let's think about it. Years and years of drinking, liver disease, heart disease, many, many cancers. We can see that alcohol is a class 1 carcinogen. It is up there with just connecting a pipe to an exhaust and just breathing that in. It's just as bad. Just as bad. Asbestos. Just as bad. But we have mandates on asbestos, but we don't for alcohol. It's kind of interesting. And then the next stage is death. I mean, like, what do you think this leads to? It leads to failure of the heart, failure of the liver, failure of the kidneys. I mean, there's only one thing that comes after that. It's either years and years of suffering to an early death, or just die right on the spot, unfortunately. I wish I could sugarcoat it, but there is no way of doing that. There is no way of sugarcoating it. It's what it is, and it's sad. Sorry about that. So, the brutal truth. The facts do not lie. Alcohol is a class 1 carcinogen. As I had said, it's up there with asbestos and engine fumes. Alcohol-related teen deaths have been on the rise for the past decades. It is not getting better. Whoever said it is statistically not getting any better, unfortunately. And alcohol misuse counts for about $25 billion per year, whether that be in court fees, whether that be in damages being paid, whether that be in funeral proceedings for people who are victims or the drinkers themselves. I mean, if the facts of like you might die don't resonate with you, maybe the fact that it costs a lot of money may also resonate with you. But let's take a look at some stories. This is Jackie Hance. Her daughter died due to alcohol misuse. Her aunt or her sister was driving her daughter, Jackie Hance's daughter, with actually several others of the sister's children as well, when she got into a terrible accident due to her being impaired on the highway. After the investigations had taken place, it was determined that she had a 0.19% blood alcohol content. This is more than twice the legal limit. And it resulted in the death of 8 individuals, including her daughter, and she must go on to live without her daughter in her life. No mother should have to bury their own children. Although it is not her child's fault that this happened, it was her sister's fault. It affects others. I'm sure her sister did not think that, me being impaired, it won't hurt the children, whatever. It did. It ended up with almost 10 people dead because of her poor decisions. And here we have Kelly Schaefer. She's in a wheelchair. She'll never be able to stand up, brush her teeth, brush her hair, really have any agency over her own body. It's unfortunate. It sounds terrible, and I feel for her. This was the result of a drunk driving incident where she was the victim of a drunk driver with a 0.18 blood alcohol content. This is, again, over twice the legal limit. The driver was going 75 miles per hour. That was over the speed limit. Again, visually impaired, drunk, intoxicated, under the influence. He hit her car, killed one of her brothers, and basically stripped a big part of her life. Her agency, her autonomy. She is bound to a wheelchair for the rest of her life, fortunately. Again, you may feel invincible, but you aren't. She may have felt invincible, and again, this is not to say that she is at any fault, but it could happen to you, and that should make you willing, that should make you want to help be part of the change as well. If you are someone who feels like, I may be that person who hits a Kelly Schaefer one day, well, there are many ways for you to get help, of course. There are many hotlines. There are many rehabilitation facilities. There's Alcoholics Anonymous. There's support groups. Again, this is not to shame you. There is no shame in trying to find help. I feel like if it means anything, I am proud. I am happy that you would even be considering these options. And I think it is very noble, it is very responsible, very telling of what kind of person you are, that you are willing to help yourself, which is the hardest for a lot of people. And just know that it will have benefits. You will help lower the statistics of drunk driving incidents. You will reduce the amount of teen deaths. You will reduce the amount of Kelly Schaefers in the world, or Jackie Hance's in the world. And I hope that, I would think that means something. Again, the longer you stay in the program, it is shown that you will get better. It will be difficult in the beginning, of course, but you will get better. Again, 50% of people who engage in treatment for alcohol and addiction remain absent after at least 1 year. You can do it. Promise you, 1 year, It's going to be difficult, but it is most definitely better than years of suffering from liver damage, kidney damage, or even being victim to your own drunk driving incidents or um, drinking related, alcohol related um, illnesses even. So thank you for sticking around for my presentation. Hope it was informative. Hope it was convincing to those that needed to be for those that need to be convinced. My name is D-EGGO, and this was my presentation on the hard truth about